second to get the word out, then we are going to get started whether chat fills up or not. Oof, already a bit of water from my paintbrush spill. Give me just a moment. I just wanted to show myself so that people can stop saying, oh, she's not even showing herself. I don't normally try to be the focus of craft and chat, but since it's the end of the year special, here I am. But give me just a moment while I get this cleared up just a bit. And welcome to Kalari's Craft and Chat. I'm your hostess, Kalari GXC. Give me just a moment here to get this water up because I don't want to start painting with water all over the place. And I will show you today's model. And today is going to be a bit different. I know I did my end of the year cast for 2025 with news stories and once again America's weird ass political landscape. But I wanted to, after being inspired by Moist Critical's video that he did, where he acknowledged, like a lot of us, that while 2025 has not been the best of years, go out with the personal highlights that you've achieved during the year and, bring that into 2026. And that's what I wanted to do here. I know I have been one of the loudest voices as I could be about this administration. And last week's end of year ended with a lot of people we lost throughout 2025. And I realized that with the snowstorms we keep getting here, because it knocked my power out for a little bit last night while I was recording something, that I want to get to a place where I'm not constantly dwelling on the negative, because if I do that, that's all I'm going to bring in. And we have New Year's traditions where we do not end the year on bad terms. So while I'm getting this cleaned up, and let me just get the word out really quick that we're live, and then we're going to get this fired up. No news today. It is going to be all about the positives. I was going to do a slideshow about some of the things that I've done, but I realized that I have a lot of the 3D print files already saved and from the Elegoo, so I'll be showing that in just a moment. No. Live stream of 20, I almost put 2035. And let's just get my at. Like I said, it's not going to be a day of politic talk for just a day, just a break from it. All I want to do today is just recap some of the highlights, some of the personal highlights that I had this year, which I think will be a bit more fun than the constant, oh my gosh, everything's on fire that I normally am with this current administration. So we got the word out on Blue Sky, we're getting the word out on Spoutable. And like I said, sometimes I get lurkers, sometimes I get people who join up midstream. It's not going to be a long stream because I still got things to do. New Year's Day. Well, New Year's Eve is tomorrow. New Year's Day is coming. I have a lot of stuff playing with the family, and I just wanted to do this really quick. Okay, the water is all up. Let's pop that back. So hello again. I am really happy that we made it through this year. And it's like I said, there were ups, there were downs, there were highs, there were lows. But what I'm not going to do is constantly focus on that. As you can see, I have my Lucy Van Pelt and her help desk. Psychiatrist help 5 cents. The doctor is in. We're going to be painting her while just going over some of the highlights. Now, I have this up, but I'm going to switch over really quick to the 3D lapse play all. I'm going to do the 3D lapse things that we did this year because we had some really amazing model prints. And oh, it went down. There we go. And I'm proud of a lot of the projects that I got to do. I was fortunate to do this year with my Elegoo Centauri Carbon. And then as you can see behind me, my Christmas gift was a multi-print printer, which can do multi-spools. So you have, and I'll put this here and right here, you can mesh colors. Kiddo and Axiom Wolf surprised me with it. And this was just a testing from the test filament. They don't give you much, but I have plenty of filament. I've turned this office, even though it's Greg's Geek Den, into my printing, just Fortress of Solitude, I'm going to call it, because I'm a total geek. Got my Care Bear Like I Care mug, because keeping hydrated was always one of my mottos. And it's just been a crazy year. When I say that if you had asked me at the end of 2024, would I be here doing this? Would I care? I was ready to give up streaming, period. And it wasn't because of certain things that were going on YouTube. The country just decided to throw us into chaos, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I had big plans with my partner. We were planning to make a new life and just enjoy being out here, and it just didn't work out. And the thing that bothers me the most about all of this is how preventable this was. It's sad, but it's not surprising. And in the end, I ended up wanting to give up. I ended up wanting to not deal with the basic fuck shit. So I took a break. I took a much needed, well deserved break from talking politics, from talking social issues, from all the stuff that I feel is my wheelhouse, because honestly, I wasn't feeling it anymore. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't like I didn't care. I just felt like the country didn't care, and I needed to go into protect my peace mode. So when I decided about the mid of the month to try again, just lightly making videos, and then when I said, I'm not going to let my Twitch channel die, I want to keep doing this, I pretty much made the commitment that while I won't do it in a bonnet anymore, even though I still use my bonnets, my hair is up in my puffs today, I'm still going to convey my feelings on politics and social issues while combining my creativity. And it's only showing my father-in-law's. There we go. Should go to others. It's only showing my father-in-law's car that we made for him because he wanted Oldsmobile, but they didn't have any 3D models. So working with Triple Studios, I was able to take a picture of his old car and then made a complete 3D model of it, and it was so much fun, you know. And it's like I said, that wasn't the only thing that we did. We had different figures, like Axiom was Mega Man, which I got to paint. That's the base for it, that I was able to do in two colors on Elegoo, but you have to be sitting in here watching it to do that properly. Here's a fee that I did for him from Legend of Zelda. There was just so many fun prints that I got to do with the Centauri Carbon. And it was just like a stroke of luck. Right after New Year's, after the inauguration, when I was in a complete mental low and funk, I was on the exercise bike, going through the motions, and the Elegoo commercial came up. And I was like, 3D printing? I heard about it. We bought 3D prints before, but I don't really know the ins and outs. But Elegoo's commercials just kept coming and coming every time. And I watch YouTube while I'm on the bike, so it was like it was a targeted ad. So I went to their site and I seen that the Centauri Carbon was very affordable. And I was like, I'm going to take a chance. I don't really know what direction I want to go into right now. And I need something besides writing to have a creative outlet. And even though I just released Tara's Destiny's Chosen at the end of 2024, I just wasn't feeling motivated at my written work as I was before everything went down in November. So getting the Centauri carbon ordered and then having it arrive around my birthday in June was just all the sign I needed to come up with a new format, which is how Craft and Chat got born. And I am very excited. We have done so many fun prints. Let me get this little guy right here. This was one of the first print and paints I did for Axiom Wolf. Let's put it under here for a closer view. He loves Joe Cool. We have so many Joe Cool items. I've made him Transformers, Legend of Zelda things, like this golden Triforce with the symbol of the goddesses. It has been a really fun year for crafts, for printing, for all of that stuff. And I just wanted people to understand that while I know I got my, oh, I loved making that house too and painting it. While I did get my start commentarying on political stuff, then on YouTube commentating on a certain set of other creators, I knew I could move forward. This is not my first rodeo. I started my online stuff doing gaming charity stuff with Reaping the Benefits. That was the first jaunt to anything remotely live, and it was cross platforms. It was a lot of fun. Then I had my political group, the CCC, and we tried our own podcast, which lasted almost 2 years. Then I was privileged to briefly join Tony Brown and her crew for her talk show where she did politics, social issues. Her, Tabitha, and Alien were amazing in that. And because of my own schedule and my mental health, I took a step back. Because I know having my own stuff, if I need to take a break, I'm not fucking over anybody else but myself. And after that, I decided between the CCC and that, yeah, I love snatching edges, but I'm not good with groups because it requires more of me than I'm willing to currently give, given that I was releasing my novels, given that I don't have it in me to argue with people about politics. And she would have people call in, and sometimes they were okay, but the last one I got into before I was like, you know what, I can't do this, was some dude that was a complete progressive, and arguing with him, especially when he had no economic knowledge, tried my patience. And while I miss and I thank Tony every day, she was given a thank in the second book as well for just being there while I was going through all that and writing. I realized that doing these things on my own is how it's got to be. I feel like when I can rely on myself and not have to drag anybody else into my stuff, I get more things done. But it has been more than just 3D printing and crafting. I've been gardening like a mofo. I absolutely want to have a field of apple trees. I want to grow my own vegetables. And we had ups and downs this year, but we're not giving up. We have apple trees growing. We have tomato plants, carrots, peas, green beans, spinach, and peppers, green and red bell peppers, all sprouting up already. We brought our plants and seedlings in because our greenhouse would not keep for the winter. We get serious snow out here. So I got an indoor greenhouse and we were able, oh, it's doing it by itself because I was like, is this moving? The 3D slideshow, make it a little bit bigger. We were able to bring a lot of stuff in, set things up in our house. It is a huge, massive indoor greenhouse thing. It has the grow lamps already hooked up to the ceiling, air vents to ventilate it. It has been a godsend. And even when branches break off, I learned tips and tricks from other gardeners out here that you can put the broken branches of any plant, right now it's the tomato plant, into bottles of water and it will root itself in a couple of weeks. So I've been doing that. We are definitely going to salvage every plant we get, but I'm excited the most for our apple trees. And it's like I said, life is literally on an upswing. for me. I did not think it was going to be this way because the beginning of 2025, I was done with a lot of stuff. I was ready to say, you know what, it's not worth it. But I realized that on top of the creative and the gardening and all the other stuff I threw myself into, there was so much more that I wanted to give to just creativity. And as a writer and as somebody who used to draw, I really truly wanted to highlight my oh, let's see. I think older room got moved, so we'll do these newer ones that I was able to come up with. Those are just two stills from my project Olaroon. It is an African isekai mythology series. I write the scripts. I was working originally with LTX Studios. I still have all those files downloaded, but I tried working with them. You run out of computing points so much because AI, no matter what people say, is really hard to work with. You will give them an image because I have a lot of characters already fleshed out. All I needed to do is get them animated, and you could get beautiful animations, but they didn't render well. So I was stuck with a lot of stills that, while they looked pretty, did not animate right. And while I went hunting for something else, because right now, if I tried to draw every frame myself, which I am not talented with drawing. I could sketch, but I've never been like a real artist. I would never get this project up and running. So I know how people feel about AI. I know a lot of people use AI for nefarious things, but to get Older fleshed out, as you can see, I am using AI, and I originally went with ChatGPT, which was a mistake because for what I was paying them a month, which was way cheaper than LTX Studios, they can't even animate stuff. And so I went to Google Gemini, which I had anyway, just to help my son with his research stuff and just for everyday questions. And they were like, girl, we are the ones that can do animated videos. I don't know why so many people were claiming their nano banana, as they call it. Oh, the snow's coming down again. Sorry. But they pretty much told me that if I wanted to do animated shorts and fix what I've already done with LTX Studios, they would be the better option, along with another thing where I could add sound and vocal stuff to the characters. So I've been working so hard on Project Olaroon, and these were just two animated shorts that Google Gemini helped me make of Olaroon. This character is Ayan's son. She is a Western warrior under the war god, Spirit King, and Spirit King of the West, and she ends up in Aya, the main character, or some of her Earth names group. She is very skilled. She is a swordswoman, but she's really more of a battle master. She can pretty much use any weapon in her hands to take down people. And this was just her walking through the forest that Aya and them were going through and admiring the foliage. This one, as you can see, is an action. The first one was Aya using magic to fend off a lizard creature because she's in this whole world, and I made it disappear. She's in this whole world based off a video game that she played routinely. She gets pulled into that world and she is thrust into a situation that, most people would be all effed up to be involved with. But what I like about this is not only can I go at my own pace when it comes to this animation, but I have the scripts already written out. I want to make sure that when I launch the pilot, which is coming soon and I'm excited about it, that people know how much love and care and process went into making this series. And it's going to be an ongoing series. Now, there's a small part of me that hopes that I can generate enough buzz where I can one day hire actual physical artists, because I still support physical artists. One of the projects that I loved working on, and hopefully it will still be able to work on once I get everything together, is our Merry Band of Misfits. That is completely being hand drawn out by a dear friend, Curie Bell. And that process takes time. And right now, it is a webtoon. It's up on her webtoons account. But one of the things I realize is that if I want to animate, which she's been dabbling in that's going to take a lot of time, and I cannot expect her, when she's got her own webcomic to run as well and helping me out with Ombom, to just be like, drop everything and help me draw out and animate this African isekai. It's not realistic. Artists deserve better than demands. So for me, it was just easier and better to try to use AI to at least get the pilot and the first episode done and then go from there, because I really am liking the shorts, and I might have to do it in short form and just edit them together. But I think even doing that, I can shape the story the way I truly want to shape it. And I've been so lucky that despite fighting literal depression, despite wondering where my future would be, worried for the country in general, especially after the shutdown and all of that nonsense, that I was able to find my creative outlet and creative spirit again, whether it is 3D printing and painting and just crafting in general, whether it is, designing stuff for the garden, or whether it's doing Olaroon. And like I said, this is on top of, hey, Red Bear, it's good to see you. Definitely live, definitely trying to end the year on a more positive note. And I hope that your 2026 is a good one as well. And thank you so much for the year of support. You have come in even when you're lurking just to keep me company, and it's always appreciated. But like I was saying, one of the things that I am happy about finding different outlets to express myself is that it did help, along with therapy, along with the proper medicine, which there are some weirdos that try to ding you on that, but there is no shame in getting help for your mental illness. I think it's more shameful those who refuse to get help and act like they don't have a problem than to be open and honest about getting help, medicine to help me sleep, medicine to help my moods, and just keeping on routine. All of this stuff has helped so much in the fight not to let the non lucidity win. And I think there are far too many people who don't understand mental illness, who still weigh in on mental illness. And we can't let those people be louder than those of us who understand this. And we definitely cannot give up because people doubt what you're going through. They're not in your head. No one can know your issues better than you and your doctor and the people around you. And I am fortunate enough to say that I've had enough of a safety zone for myself with my family, with my friends, with people who actually give a crap, to not let any of this bring me down. And I'm going to reiterate, when I'm not feeling things, instead of pushing through, instead of pretending everything's okay, like the doctor says, take the break, disconnect. The internet will be there when you get back. And this is important because so many of us get so lost in the idea that if we miss any time for any reason, that's it for us. And that might be fine if this is how you make your direct money. I don't ever want to shit on people who have made it where this is lucrative for them. But for somebody like me, where streaming is just another side thing that I like to do every once in a while so I can vent about politics and paint stuff, I know that it is vital for me to respect when I'm just not feeling things and take that necessary break. And I needed to, because I gave that advice to fellow friend streamers who were feeling burnt out. And it's like, you need to take your own freaking advice. You can't tell other people that, hey, if you're not feeling it, people can sense it, take a break. And then when you're not feeling it, what do? You instead decide, oh no, I'm totally gonna power through this, even though I'm feeling miserable, and ruin the mood, the atmosphere, and everything else. And like I say, even with creative stuff, people can tell when your heart's not in things. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that person that doesn't want to give my 100% when I'm live. So in 2026, I don't plan for a lot of breaks, but if they happen, I will let you all know. I will be upfront first and foremost because nobody wants to watch somebody who's not consistent. But I also think nobody wants to watch somebody who is constantly breaking down either. My mental health is not an accessory. It's not something that I wear as a badge of honor or anything else. It is something I have to live with. It is something that has been with me for years now. And it is something that I'm no longer ashamed of because it is a part of life. It is a health issue. And there are far too many people who still try to stigmatize it, still leave comments like, oh, your speech sounds slur. Are you on meds again? Or, oh, they may need to change your meds. And it's like, okay, I know what some people are trying to do. There's been a lot of nastiness since I returned, trying to wear its head again. And you know what? If that's how you get your jollies, I can't help you. If that is how you want to treat people, well, may it never turn back on you. Because in 2026, even though I will have moments of petty, I can't help it. I am full of penny energy. I am no longer going to let people who just want to rile me up, tear me down, and make me show out for their amusement to get their way. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, I don't know people like that. And after everything, I don't really want to know people like that. I've had to really weigh the worth of things, be it friendship, be it anything else. What's it worth? And for a lot of people, they showed me their nonsense wasn't worth it. So, what I'm going to do is focus on the things that are worth it, the things that make you smile, the things that make your waking up each morning worth it, be it projects, be it family, be it friends, be it entertainment in any medium. We went to go see some of the most amazing movies in the summer of 2025, which after the pandemic, I thought going to a movie theater for me was never going to happen again. But I got lucky. We have a really nice theater downstate that we go to. And I got to see Superman live on the big screen. We watched a lot of superhero movies. Some duds, some that were okay. But I think my favorite movie was the Superman movie. And I know people, oh, you only liked it because it was woke. That is such a stupid thing. Considering how geeky myself, my partner, and my kid are, what I loved about Superman is they did not stray. They didn't go the edgelord path. They wanted to show that Superman, despite all of his powers, was a symbol for justice and good. Which is why I had a problem with DC's dark take on him and the constant, we need to show him edgy. We need to have him kill somebody, which was never Superman's bag. I know there were some alternate writers who tried to do that with him, but the whole purpose Simon Schuster had for Clark was in spite of his powers. He never used it in a force that would take a life. He was their answer, because both men were Jewish, to all of those who believed that actual Superman or Ubermensch were having to be powerful by trampling on the weak. They wanted a symbol of a being that was strong, a being that is literally considered an alien, not just a foreign national that some bigots like to call aliens, with the power to save people and uphold justice better than the people who are running the country. Superman was always supposed to be, and always to me will be, a symbol of good, especially since I grew up with Christopher Reeve's Superman. That wink at the camera he used to do made it feel, especially when I was a kid, like Superman was acknowledging all the kids and all the kid like adults in the audience that came to watch him be our Superman. And I think this new young man, oh, I'm getting some of Lucy's hair stuff on her face. It's okay. We can blend. Whew. As I was saying, the new young man, I feel like he will do a good job because he does have that I'm big and strong, but I'm also a teddy bear ability to act. And I think that the script for the newest Superman was way better. Lex was way more believable than the Dawn of Tomorrow and the other stuff. No shade to the young man Eisenberg that played him. He's a decent actor, but I honestly feel like somebody told him to play Lex like the Joker, and that's where it failed. I feel like the Lex in the new Superman movie was perfect. The bigotry that he showed against Superman, the insecurity he showed because this person from another planet with major powers that in his hands he probably would have exploited, instead actually fights for justice, actually fights for good. And him, with his twisted, warped sense of values, didn't want to believe that. Didn't think that somebody with that immense amount of power would be that way. It showed how he could use online trolls to manipulate people's opinions about people, which hit close to home for me so much. That's why the movie resonated. You have people who this is all they have. This is all they do all day is sit and wait to talk shit about somebody, to make up rumors and literal lies against things. And it's their fun. So in the end, when you see that somebody as powerful as Lex had to rely on stuff like that, and he's not the only one. It is a real life allegory to people who've literally harassed streamers, no matter what platform they are, just to get their kicks and jollies, just to get their shits and giggles. And sadly, it does have negative effects. There have been streamers who have taken the ultimate plunge because they just couldn't take it anymore. And for me, because I love my family and I know that I can just log off, which is what advice I give to anybody who gets to feeling like that from online pressure, especially from people you don't know who will never know you. To me, logging off, prioritizing what's important is what really got me back to good. Because there are really nasty people out there that this is all they have. This is all they want to have. They want to bully, they want to tear down, they want to spread rumors, they want to make it where you don't feel safe online. And you got to realize that you control your online presence. You control what you'll allow to be your narrative. And unfortunately, too many people don't feel that way. They let the insecurity build up, brought on by people who will never know who you are, can only speculate on who you are, and then they win when you finally give up or give in or do something irreversible. And you don't deserve that. Your family doesn't deserve that. And these people who do this to you only deserve dust. Pay them the dust they deserve and keep it pushing. I really hope that in 2026, more people are inspired when they are being targeted instead of constantly trying to argue your place with people who just want to tear you down, to remember the good things you have going on. Focus on what you can do. not what you want to do for other people. Other people come and go. For me, other people have been a constant source of disappointment. I do not easily put my trust in others. It's dangerous to. So when I say to people that, I prefer to do my streams one person, it's not shade. It's just knowing that in the end, a friendship can end, alliances can change, people can move on. And for me, the only constant has been Thanos in this shit, basically. Okay, I can't keep a crew together. I'll do this shit myself. Okay, not everybody wants to talk about politics and stuff anymore. I'll do this shit myself. Because honestly, in the end, it's not hurting anybody to give opinions. If a person is hurt by a simple opinion, if a person cannot stand that somebody's thoughts differ from them, that's an them problem. It's not a you problem. I know that 2026 is going to bring a lot of what we had in 2025, especially during the midterms. It is going to be tough. The midterms this year are going to be so important, and I still feel like a lot of people don't understand that. So I am going to focus on proper note taking, state by state, who's running for what, amplifying campaigns where I can. Because if we can get our House and Senate and Congress back to work in order, where it's not in the hands of people like the Hydra agent Mike Johnson, where our senators are willing to actually draft laws and legislation and not just be on the cover of magazines and showing their asses, that would make me happy. I'm not saying that every politician has to be unsung or unknown, but I'm saying that the ones who are busy getting shit done aren't going to be the ones getting magazine spreads and stuff like that. And we need more of those people and less wannabe rock stars. We also, since my hometown seems to be a big feature in politics now, NYC, need to stop amplifying somebody who hasn't even started his job yet. I know people want to say that, Mamandi is hope, and I hope so. I would love to come visit my hometown again and feel the changes he's allegedly going to bring. But until I actually see that happen, and I'm going to give him enough time to where I can see that happen, I'm really sick of the narrative that this man is going to save New York City. Because you said the same thing about Eric Adams, and he ended up being a whole ass crumbone. So, yeah. Let's hope that New York finally got it right mayor wise. But I'm kind of over the way our media turns politicians into rock stars when they're supposed to be legislators. And it is really aggravating at this point that more people don't feel this way. This is how we got in this mess in the first place, by turning politics into a three-ring circus or blood sport. And now we have a lot going on that shouldn't go on. But in the end, we still have an ability. We still have a voice. We still have a way to turn things around. And call me crazy. You literally can. I want to feel hopeful that people understand that even with a non functioning president, even with a president who malfunctions online and off, we can get a functioning House and Senate. We're screwed for the Supreme Court right now. Unless something happens to Thomas or Alito or one of those handpicks like the handmaiden or beer guy, we can't rely on the Supreme Court. But because of checks and balances, if we can get our House and Senate where they need to be, we could overturn so much nonsense. And we could protect from another government shutdown. And I need people to remember that. We had the longest ever in U.S. history government shutdown that affected military families, that affected everyday people, that is now wreaking havoc on the healthcare system, because a lot of people are losing coverage or having to pay ex just exponentially higher fees each month for their health care. And it's sad. These aren't just poor people who our country, for some odd reason, like to look down on. These are people who gave their all for years, being service workers, teachers, doctors, firefighters, who relied on the Affordable Health Care Act to keep them during tough times. And now they've got to figure out these payments. And we got Brainworm Guy literally running the CDC, which is scary with all the new flu stuff. So please go out and get your flu shots. Don't play around with that. If you're out in the public, especially like my husband is most of the time for work, or like when we go into town to get stuff shipped off and drop off prints at the shop that we sell them at, get your flu shots because it only takes one and there's a new strain. But even with all of that, I'm going to get paint all over my fingers, but it's okay. Even with all of that, there are going to be people struggling. We already had a shit ton of recalls this year as well. And for me, because I was like, nope, we are going to stock up. We have 3 deep freezers out here because we get winter. Like, I know some people think it's a joke, but we're not technically UP. We're just UP adjacent. And we get snow here. So I already brought up a deep freezer from North Carolina when I moved up here about 6 years ago. And then Greg bought another one when we were living together in downstate. And then his parents got us another one. And we originally thought, well, maybe we should sell 1 or 2 of these. And then we had the first winter up here. And I was like, nah, we're just going to use these to stock up because going into the next town over in this weather is, yeah, that's not fun. And that's what we did. The garage deep freezer is full of different meats and veggies that I freeze dried and have ready for soups, stews, and all that stuff. While the ones in here have our everyday frozen items that we need. You know, I make a lot of bread dough now because I got a bread machine last year for my birthday. And you can freeze doughs and use them later. Had this really nice multigrain with oats and I forget the flour that we got because it's not wheat flour. I have to look at it. But it's been nice experimenting with all that stuff. Because the less you have to go out and spend and the less that you have to buy in actual supermarkets right now with brainworms in charge, the better. I stocked up on things like milk powder, egg powder, just in case. Even though our neighbors literally sell eggs off their farm. So I feel like we'll be okay on that front. And I literally bartered for eggs for 3D prints for one of Greg's coworkers too, which was nice. And they were like, you should get chickens too. And I'm like, I'll think about that. That's a lot. I take care of barn cats and my cat Callie. I really am afraid of not being able to properly take care of chickens. You know, growing vegetables and stuff is already a lot of nurturing if you want proper growth and harvest. I just don't want to throw my hat into the chicken wrangling ring right now because it really is a lot to do. But it is something to think about on the horizon, especially given the current climate, given that things are really going up. One of the things that irks me is the people that still believe that things aren't as bad as they were last year. I'm like, they really were. If you do any kind of budgeting for your family or shopping at all, you would know that the cost of things have gone up exponentially and you're getting less. Things like shrinkflation are for real. And it's not just in supermarkets, even ordering stuff from Amazon. Because I like a certain brand of unpopped popcorn because I like to make my own popcorn as a snack. That way you can regulate what you put on it, keeping it low sodium, keeping it not full of too much stuff, because it's still empty carbs at the end of the day, but it is a healthier, more fiber based snack. And one of the things that I learned is that the pop that I normally get came in a much bigger jar. And yet they shrunk the jar and tried to say, oh no, you're getting more. And it's like, yeah, no. I save those jars that they come in because they're very reusable. I'm doing a broth diet right now where I make bone broth, especially for the collagen and stuff for hair and nails. And you can restore them in those jars. That whole reduce, reuse, recycle thing really stuck to me as a Gen Xer. So when I say that the old jars, I know that the size difference is there for that popcorn. I'm not just blowing smoke. I also reused a couple of those jars to store pasta and stuff, because that's some of the things that you'll have to have in case the economy crashes. I'm not wishing it. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying that as somebody who keeps my eyes on the market and everything else, while everybody's going for gold and silver right now, and some people are still hoping their crypto ship will come in, there is a coordinated effort by this administration to funnel our money in unnecessary things while leaving a lot of us stranded. And the less people spend, which is going to happen in this economy, the more things are going to tank for even stable businesses. It's just the way this all works. So, my advice to you is to stock up on things like grains if you can. Store them in cool, airtight containers. Get your flour, get your sugar. I love brown sugar more than the other sugars. I got honey just in case for my in-laws because they can't really have a lot of sugar. We have that substitute stuff. I don't really like sugar either way, but having it on hand for when I'm making stuff for them is good. We have stocked up on everything we possibly can, not just for the winter, but I feel like 2026 is going to come with more recalls, and I don't want it to be like that. But I'd rather be realistic that there's a good chance it'll be like that. So, in the end, my only advice to people is if you can, hunker down, hang out to the midterms, research who's running in your state, what their platform is. I am going to do my best to use Craft and Chat as a sounding board for people who are running for certain offices. I should probably do this sign last, but I've got the fine brushes for it, so I'm excited. Just do your part to try to help us take the House and Congress back, because I feel like more than anything, that is going to be viable to make in 2026 and beyond bearable. Like I said, this wasn't going to be a long one. It was almost an hour anyway. I just want to thank everyone who has watched these, who have given comments, no matter what. You helped me get an algorithm, so thank you for that. To those who had patience while I needed time away to figure my stuff out. To those who have liked the crafts, I do plan to do more giveaways. I'm going to be careful with the giveaways though, because I noticed that some people still like to leave semi shady ass comments. I don't know who you are, don't care. I have a feeling that you're somebody who knows me that I don't fuck with anymore. And if this is how you get your jollies, good on you. The stuff I make is not trash. The stuff I make is fun. It's stuff that warms my Gen X heart, like the Rainbow Bright and other stuff I've done. It's just an expression of everything that I have done this year. And like I said, between that and Olaroon, which I'm super excited about this, I'm looking forward to 2026 being a completely creative year. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Red Baron, for sitting in. Thank you, everybody who has watched these crafting chats, watched the shorts where I show the support free images. Let me get the holiday Snoopy that I worked on last time. Here he is with Woodstock all painted. There they are up close. I think it's really adorable. And I had fun painting it. And I made two more because I'm going to surprise somebody who won that had to wait for their prize with one of these as a I'm sorry that my country's postal stuff sucks, and I wanted to surprise them with one of these as well. So hopefully they'll be happy about that because they're probably going to have a quite long wait before they get the figure that they actually won. And I plan to do more. And since I haven't heard from the person who won the Gorillas figures, I will be organizing them into a giveaway. I'm going to paint them first this time. I'm going to give them bases as well to secure them so that they don't snap or anything during mailing. So I've got a lot coming up. Greg's birthday is right around the corner. He is a January baby. So I've got a big plan for his stuff too. Already got one of his gifts ordered and on its way. I'm going to make the other gifts because he loved the Agumon that I made for him. I don't know where he put him though. I know he was super excited when he got him. Yeah, you put him up somewhere. Oh, I see. I can't reach up there. I'm 5'3", y'all. I cannot reach his top shelf, but I do see that he has War Greymon. I said Agumon, but it's the same line. Proudly displayed up where I cannot possibly get to him. But it's okay. He's tall. He reaches everything for me. So I'm rambling. I'm probably gonna upload this to YouTube later. Red Baron, once again, thank you so much for sitting in. SC Clinton, thank you for your support this year. Everybody who lurked, everybody who liked, everybody who shared when I uploaded it to YouTube. I wish you and everybody, even if I don't really care for you, a happy New Year 2026. We will be back sometime next week, probably next Tuesday for this format. Probably on Sunday for our D&D live with our guild and just having fun. Last week was so much fun with the raids. I was glad that I was able to show you some of it before the internet got spotty and I chose to finish the raids and not run OBS. But I'm really excited about the future format for this cast. I'm really excited about the potential lives that I'll be able to do on YouTube as well, featuring painting, crafting, and just giving my opinions on stuff. But for now, I am going to go relax. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Please have a safe and festive if you're going out, especially if you're in my hometown. But just have a good New Year, and I'll see you all soon.